This is page 510 of our notes, and again we are taking story problems, and we will have to find two equations based on the information they give you. So if you look back at 5.9, kind of the steps are to define your variables. That's up to you if you want to do that or not. Write the system, solve it, and then answer it. And again, you can choose which way you want to solve these. So if we look at number 7, 3 boxes of envelopes and 4 boxes of notebook paper is $13.25. So right off the bat, you should realize those 3 numbers are going to make up an equation. Our job at the end is to find the cost of 1 box of envelopes and 1 box of notebook paper. So if you take 3 boxes of envelopes times how much one of them costs, that's going to be your total. So we would have 3x plus 4y is equal to $13.25. All right, many of our problems are going to be in the form ax plus by equals c. That was our standard form. You don't necessarily have to memorize that. You should just be able to get it based on what the words say. So then our other one, 2 boxes of envelopes, so 2x plus 6y is equal to 17. So if you wanted to, off on the side, you could say that x is the cost of a box of envelopes, y is the cost of a box of notebook paper. But again, hopefully you can just see that from the equation. So I would use elimination for this. So I'm going to multiply the top one by 2 and the bottom one by 3 to get my x's to match. So I would have 6x plus 8y is equal to 2650. Make sure we multiply everything by 2. And then 6x plus 18y is equal to 51. So I have the exact same, so I need to subtract. 8 minus 18 is going to give you negative 10y. And again, that might be a little scary, but when you do 2650 minus 51, you get negative 2450. So a negative divided by a negative now is going to give us a positive. So I get y equals 2.45. And you can get decimals for these because it is money. So remember, what that represents is the cost of 1 box of notebooks. So now our job is to figure out how much a box of envelopes costs. So you need to plug your y into one of your original equations. And it really doesn't matter which one. I'll just use the top one. So I would have 3x plus 4 times 245. So I'm plugging the 245 right here into that y right there. So that gives me $9.80 is equal to $13.25. So I subtract 1325 minus 980 gives me 345. Divide by 3 and I get $1.15. 1.15. So since these are story problems, you need to label them. So we would say box of envelopes. That was my X, so that's $1.15. And then a box of notebooks was the $2.45. So that's what I'm looking for a final answer, is a label, not only the dollar sign, but also you have to tell me which one is which. If you just put $1.45 and $2.45, that will not be full credit. You need to make sure you label which one is which. Okay. Number 8, the cost of 12 oranges. So I'm going to put 12x plus 7 apples is equal to $5.36. 8 oranges plus 5 apples is $3.68. So again, putting these in the order that they go in should hopefully be pretty simple. I'm going to turn my x into 24. So you don't have to always multiply, like we don't have to multiply by 8 and 12 or 5 and 7. I'm going to make these 24. So I'm going to multiply by 2 and by 3 to get them to match. So that gives me 24x plus 14y is equal to 1072. And then 24x plus 15y is equal to 1104. So now I have the exact same, so I can subtract. That gives me negative 1y is equal to negative 0.32. So divide, and we get y equals 0.32. That seems a little scary, but it's 32 cents. That should make sense. So now you need to plug that back into one of the original y's. I'm going to go back and use the bottom one. So 8x plus 5 times 32 cents gives me $1.60. It's equal to 368. So then subtract $1.60. 8x equals 208. Divide by 8, and we get 26 cents. So again, you solve for y first. Y is the apples. All right, so oranges are 26 cents. So an orange is, you can write this two ways. A $sign with the 0.26, or I'll change it for apple, you could write 32 cents. Make sure you don't put a cent sign and a decimal point. Okay, so you either have a $sign with the decimal, or you have a cent sign without a decimal. All right, see if you can pause and try number 9. So Gabby has 4 pens and 5 pencils for $6.71. Sydney was 5 pens and 3 pencils for $7.12. So again, just writing those out. Here I'm going to change the y's to 15. So I'm going to multiply the top by 3 and the bottom by 5. 12x plus 15y is equal to 2013. 25x plus 15y is equal to 3560. So I have the exact same coefficients, so I'm going to subtract. Negative 13x equals negative 1547. And then we divide by negative 13, and we get x equals $1.19. Okay, so again, you'll get some weird decimals for these, but it's $1.19. So then you need to plug that $1.19 in for one of your x's. I'm just going to go ahead and do the top one. So 4 times $1.19 gives me 476. So 476 plus 5y is equal to 671. So I subtract and get 5y equals $1.95. Divide, and I get 39 cents. So y equals 0.39. So again, you need to answer the question. A pen is $1.19, and a pencil is 39 cents. Number 10, 2 gloves plus 4 hats is a total of $43. If you want to use different variables than X and Y, that's absolutely something you can do as well if that's going to help you with your answers. Tori has 2 gloves and 2 hats for $30. So this one's a lot easier because you can right away notice your X's match and you can just subtract right off the bat. Gives me 2y equals 13. So then divide and you get 650, 6.5 or 650 for y. So then I'm going to plug that back into the bottom one. 2x plus 650 times 2 gives us 13 is equal to 30. So subtract 2x equals 17. Divide by 2 and we get 8.5 or 850. So gloves are 850. That was our X. Hats are 650. That was our Y. So again, as long as you know which variable is which, you don't have to write it off to the side. Or again, if you want to use G and H for gloves and hats, you can do that to help you. All right, number 11. 2 types of lawnmowers. The smaller one is $249.99. The larger is $329.99. So this problem is different than the rest of them that we've been doing. I call this a how many and a how much. So you don't get as many numbers in this problem as the other ones. So we know we sold a total of 30 lawnmowers. So right off the bat, you have X plus Y is equal to 30. Your job is to figure out how many of each you sold. So your X would represent your small mowers and your Y would represent your large mowers. So X plus Y, the number of each that we sold, is equal to 30. Then we have the money one. So $249.99 X plus $329.99 Y is equal to $837.970. So in this case, I would use substitution. Okay, I don't want to have to multiply that top equation by $249.99. So I'm going to take this one and solve it for X. So X equals 30 minus Y. So now I'm going to plug this into Y, or sorry, into X and solve. So 249.99 times 30 minus Y plus 329.99 is equal to 837.970. So this is just going to have a lot of big numbers. So first I need to distribute, and we get 7499.70 minus 249.99y plus 329.99y is equal to 837.970. So I am going to move my plain term over at the same time as I combine these two to save me some time. So 329.99 and then minus 249.99 gives me 80. So 80y is equal to, when I subtract those two, I get 880. So then I would divide and get y equals 11. So once you get your first one, it's going to be a lot simpler. You know you need a total of 30. So if y is 11, that means x has to be 19. So 19 small and 11 large would be your final answer. So setting it up and doing all of the calculations is the tricky part. Once you get your first answer, finding your second answer is a little bit easier.